When we think about the American Civil Rights Movement, we often picture the marches, the protests, and for good reason. But it was so much more than that. It was really a revolution of ideas. And that's what we're going to get into in this explainer. We're going to unpack the moral architecture, the few powerful ideas that literally built the foundation for a more equal America.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, it all boils down to this one simple, powerful fact. Americans fought for racial equality. And look, this wasn't just a fight. We're talking about a struggle that spanned generations, pushing back against a system that was, frankly, designed to deny that very equality. This is ground zero. This is the central conflict that kicks off everything else we're about to discuss.
Right, so you've got this massive struggle. But here's the thing, it's not enough to just fight against something, is it? That's only half the story. To really get people to rally, to sacrifice, you need something to fight for. So, what was the vision? What was the end goal? What did this new, more equal America actually look like to the people on the front lines? And boom, there's your answer. Just 4 words, but there may be 4 of the most famous and powerful words ever spoken in this country. And what's so incredible about this dream is that it wasn't about getting even, not at all. It was about coming together. It was a vision for a nation where what truly matters is who you are on the inside, your character, not the color of your skin. And that was the idea that lit a fire under a whole nation and fueled a movement.
Okay, so we have this powerful dream. But let's pause for a second. How does a dream that comes from the struggle of one specific group of people become the dream for an entire nation? What was the secret ingredient that turned this into a battle for, really, the soul of America itself? Well, it turns out it comes down to one single brilliant idea.
This right here, this was the moral engine that drove the whole movement. Think about it like this. If your neighbor's house is on fire, you don't just say, well, that's their problem. No, you know that fire is a threat to your house too. That's the idea here. You can't just have justice for some people. It doesn't work that way. It has to be for everyone, or it isn't really justice at all. And that one thought, that one concept, completely changed the game from a regional struggle to a national emergency.
And this concept is so important, it actually has a name. It's called the universal imperative. It sounds kind of fancy, but the idea behind it is super simple. It just means that some things, some moral principles like justice, they're not up for debate. They don't change based on where you live or who you are. They apply to every single person, everywhere, period. So you see, the movement wasn't just about getting new laws on the books. It was about defending a core principle that holds up the entire idea of a free society. So let's recap. You've got this righteous fight for equality. You combine it with an incredibly powerful, positive vision for the future, and you power it all with this universal philosophy that justice for one is justice for all. What do you get? You get a full-blown revolution. Seriously. The civil rights movement didn't just tweak a few laws. It fundamentally transformed the entire country. It held up a mirror to America and forced it to look at the huge gap between what it said it believed in and what was actually happening. And that brings us to today, because this story doesn't just end there, right? The legacy of this movement isn't something that's just locked away in history books. We see its echoes in the headlines every single day. This idea of making a more perfect union, it's a journey, not a place you just arrive at. So the real question for us, I think, isn't just to look back and say, wow, look what they did. The question is, what's our part to play now? How do we keep that work going? Because that fight for justice, it's never really over.